live.
We going live.
Wow. Everybody.
Everybody.
We have amazing people in
the room tonight.
Forward this
live.
Forward this live. I cannot wait. Come on. Get my questions. Come on here. Yeah. Go ahead and forward this live. And we are waiting for Pastor Dale to log in. We're just gonna have some fun tonight. So share with your friends. Cool. Come on in the room. We have some very special people in here tonight. That's going to be a blessing. Oh, there we go. All right, let's do this. Can you guys log off and then come back in?
All right.
We're saying there's an echo on there. I just wanna make sure nothing messes with this experience. So if you can just log off and then log back in, we good.
Gotcha.
Cool. All right. Pastor Dale.
What's up, boss? I'm here.
Okay, good stuff. All right, they're logging back in. All right, just waiting for Mietta. Logging back in. Go ahead and share this. Okay. Adrian, we're working on it. Leo, we're working on it. Thank you so much. Awesome. Wow. So tonight, we have Pastor Dale, B. Corey Shipley, John Howard Jr., and Mietta Stancil Farrar. And one second. It's back.
Is that me?
Anybody have any devices next to their computer? Any other device? Nah.
No.
I don't know. I don't have nothing going. Let me
Hold on one second.
It's an echo when we speak, Jack.
When we speak, we hear it. But I think on your end, you don't hear it, but we hear it.
And she's not echoing either. Right.
I don't have earbuds in. Do you all have? Everybody has earbuds in, maybe?
No, I don't have earbuds in. Corey does.
I put mine in because at the bottom it said if you hear the echo, put your earbuds. But I still hear the echo with the earbuds. I got headphones, but they too big. I ain't trying to get sound on.
Maybe should I put? You think I should put mine in and see
Yeah,
what
everybody
happens?
try it.
Everybody try it.
Wrong headphones. Please.
Wrong headphone.
Let me see. I
Let
think
me see. I think.
I don't know
I don't know.
because I still have the
still
echo.
have the echo.
Am I echoing to you?
Am I echoing to you?
yeah.
Yeah, we're all echoing.
We're all echoing.
I think I got these.
I got
Let me see.
these. Let me see.
Oh, they ain't got no juice.
They ain't got no
They
juice.
dead. I got these.
I got these.
Yeah, I'll take those.
Yeah, I'll take those.
The white one.
The white ones.
We ain't gonna let nothing mess with this
nothing
experience. We're gonna get this.
Get this.
Right. I
Praise
just
the
have
Lord.
no
I
idea
just have no idea
what it could be.
what it could be.
It says if you
It
have
says if you have
issues, try restarting your browser. What? My echo's gone.
It's
Say that
gone?
again, Corey.
My echo's gone.
How did you do that? What you do, man?
No.
Hold on, Mietta logged off.
When Jay put his headphones on,
Oh,
it
there
took
we
the
go.
echo away.
Oh, that demon was with Jason.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
No, we all right. Jason
Yeah.
had to put in headphones. That was the
Yo.
problem.
Oh, it was you, Jeff. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Come on here. Okay. All right. Yo,
I
we
think-
getting this working.
Hey, Jason, I think your mom was on here. Your mom
guys
prayed
can
it
hear
away.
me clearly, but it's
You
distorted.
said my mom prayed it away? John
Yeah.
Howard.
No. When Jay put his headphones on,
Oh,
it took the echo away.
Wow.
Pastor Dale, you said you were distorted?
Dale, are you good now?
He looked
Nah,
like,
it's still distorting. I don't know. Can you hear me?
he looked like he in slow motion.
Yeah, but you're breaking up a little bit.
Well, Saints.
Leave the chat and then come back in, or
I don't know. I just heard you clearly just now. So this is weird.
It's the devil.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
The devil's a liar, saints. He don't want this to get out, saints.
And a deceiver too.
The devil don't want this to happen tonight. We bind that devil.
That's right.
We've all heard those announcements.
Right.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're gonna blame it on the devil.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All
This
this
is cyber world. So this is the Teddy Riley spirit.
Come on.
Uh-oh.
Oh Lord.
Yo, it's interesting, man. Ever since that happened, right? Almost everybody refers to an online hiccup as the Teddy Riley. Like,
Wow.
Yo, when we go back to church and we at a concert, that's what somebody going, oh, we rebuked that Teddy Riley spirit out in God's house.
How are you
Yo, you
now,
good?
Pastor Dale?
yo, it's interesting, man. Ever since that happened, right? Almost everybody refers to an online hiccup as the Teddy Riley. Like,
Wow.
Yo, when we go back to church and we at a concert, that's what somebody.
So now it's Pastor Dale.
Yeah.
Is that?
it's transferring.
It's transferred over to Pastor Dale. When he came
my
in, it
gosh.
replayed everything.
I don't hear it though. I don't hear it.
Nah,
No,
but it
no,
was
no.
just a delay. It just
Yeah,
replayed
big time
everything
delay.
we just said.
Because he keeps freezing.
Wonder what that is.
That ain't right.
What in
Pastor
the
Dale,
Matrix just
wave your
happened?
hand, Pastor Dale.
He
Yeah,
left.
I
Oh.
think it.
Oh, he
something
changing
wrong.
devices. There we go.
can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Oh,
there
yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
And your picture is more
All right.
vivid, Prophet.
Oh,
He said your
yes.
picture is more vivid. Come
Y'all
on.
made me nervous because I didn't pay my Wi-Fi yet, so
Uh-oh.
I thought they were trying to cut me off.
Oh,
Oh,
I thought
yes.
they wasn't cutting people off because all of this has
Well,
happened.
I appreciate your honesty.
That is
I'm
hilarious.
trying to go as far as I can, not paying my bills. So
Right.
hey,
Don't pay it until Cuomo tells you to pay it.
that's right. I'm not
Yep.
paying nothing.
Oh,
I'm
this
ready
is
for Murphy to
wonderful.
release me to pay my bills. I ain't
This is
paying nothing.
wonderful. Man,
What's going on, everybody? What did I miss? I'm so sorry.
You ain't missed
What was
nothing yet.
happening?
you ain't missed nothing, Doc.
We just getting started.
We've been praying
Okay, cool.
We've been praying this devil out of this
My God.
situation, making sure everybody was all right. But man, guys, thank you for logging on tonight. We have once again some great musicians and artists in the building. And the one thing I'm proud of tonight is that everybody's from Jersey. This is home right here. From top to bottom, from North Jersey to Central Jersey to South Jersey, we got great representation tonight. We're going to be discussing a little bit about the choir scene, ministry, life. We are looking at 4 people who have over 15, 20 years of doing community ministry. What happened, Dale?
Is it me or I can't hear Jason?
You can't hear?
Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you fine.
I can hear you. Yeah, I hear you fine.
Well, I can't hear him. Lord have mercy.
That's a shame.
Can you go into your settings?
I can hear y'all.
So if you go into your settings, there's something that's in there that says when you click on audio, it says disable audio processing. Try that, because I had to do that also.
Dale, can you hear me?
Lord Jesus.
Can you hear now, Dale?
You got to disable. What was it again, Corey?
Disable audio processing.
Yo, if we was at church right now, it would just be random claps of applause going on right now.
Right.
Listen, depending on what church,
So
somebody might try to sing a song.
wait. So I can hear all of y'all, but I can't hear Jason. Is it just me?
That's funny. No, we can hear him.
Oh, yeah, man.
Hear everybody.
Why don't you try one more time, go out and come back in? And Mietta's going to sing God Don't Need No Matches till you get back.
Fire all by himself.
All right.
Oh man, this has been great, guys. we waiting for some more people to come in. No, we're not, but
We do what we gotta do, man. They'll watch.
Come on, man, of God. That's what I'm talking about. So while we're waiting for Dell to come back, man, we will get this started. And we'll just maneuver through there and just flow with it.
Yeah.
Again, tonight we have Mietta, John, Corey, Dale Ciceron is coming in, and hallelujah.
All right. There we go.
All right.
Amen. Dale.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Corey, you saw me waiting, right? You saw.
Yep.
All right, cool, man.
Here.
Glad we're all in. We're finally here, and I just want to say thank you guys for taking time out of your schedule. Like legit, I know we're on quarantine, but I don't believe that everybody is just not doing anything. And if truth be told, many of us have probably been working more since the quarantine than we were before the quarantine, or just as much at least. But can you guys just go around real quick and just say what's up? We can start with Corey.
Hey everybody, I am D. Corey Shipley from Trenton, New Jersey. I'm the director of the Bishop's Choir.
I'm John Howard from Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I'm the director for the End Time Levites.
Dale?
Dale Ciceron of Newark, Irvington, New Jersey, founder and director of Psalms of Praise.
Mietta Stancil Farrar, currently from Delaware by way of New Jersey, and I am the director of the Healer.
Wow, man. Again, thank you guys for coming on tonight. We're going to have a little fun, as you already have been enjoying the laughter and everything at the preliminaries of this. But we'll go back to Mietta. Growing up in the New Jersey choir scene, who was your inspiration or your influence?
Oh wow! Well, we coming from the Patterson area in particular, we had church choirs that were very, very, I can say, more on top of their game as it relates to church choir. Because you didn't really have a whole lot of them, but there were some in our area. Gilmore Memorial Church Choir was incredible. By the way, my home church at the time was probably the standard by which many of the choirs in that area gleaned quite a bit from. So I didn't have to go too far to be inspired or get a lot of inspiration, because right where I was a member, we had everything we needed.
Yeah.
My dad my dad and my mom in the earlier years. My dad and my mom both worked with the choir together. My father, in particular, he spent a lot of time in the New York area at Institutional Church of God in Christ.
Got it.
So much of our music in Patterson came from that particular scene, and so he would bring it over in the time where all we had was the radio, and so you would put the tape recorder up to the radio because they were about the only ones doing a whole bunch of broadcasting. And so he would put the tape recorder up to the radio and record those songs and bring them to the church choir rehearsal and teach them to the choir. So I grew up in that environment, and I think I'm more the better for it. You know, other people may pull out from other states and things of that nature to get their inspiration. But New Jersey has everything,
Absolutely.
everything from north to south to central. They just had everything. And so
Absolutely.
I didn't have to go far. I didn't really have to go far. I had what we needed,
Oh, good
or at
stuff.
least what I needed, right where I was.
Yeah. Dale.
Yes, sir.
Who were your influences, man? Who was your inspiration?
Well, James Cleveland. And
God bless Bishop Butters.
I'm from the old school, y'all. No, but I have three as a director, hands down, Ricky Dillard. As a artist performer, Kirk Franklin. As a songwriter, Donald Lawrence.
Wow.
These three individuals has really made an impact in my life, in my artistry, in my musicianship, and even one more person just for stage presence. My Bishop Hezekiah Walker, who captivates the stage every time that he gets on there. He summons the attention of the people. Ricky Dillard, his energy, hand down with the choir. You know, that's me all the way. And again, like I tell everybody, I didn't grow up in the days of the James Cleveland and the Hawkins. I grew up on Kirk Franklin. I grew up on Stomp. That's my first.
Okay.
That's my era. You know what I mean? Coming into gospel music. So he really made an impact in my life and everything that I do. So those four individuals have been a great inspiration to me in what I do.
Wow, that's dope. Dope. John Howard, same question.
I guess my primary influence is my parents. And then because of that, my father started the John Howard Caravan
Yeah.
Mr. Charles Lawson and the John Howard Caravan. And this was in 67. So I'm not that old, but but my first recollection and impact with gospel music outside of my home that I could think of was at caravan rehearsal every Monday night. My brother and I were there, and we would fall asleep in rehearsals, and then on the weekends we were walking into churches, and I should be embarrassed because we would go into churches with pajamas on and all kinds of stuff. But you know, we would fall asleep in one church because that's when they were singing at 2 and 3 churches a night. So we'd fall asleep in one church and wake up in another, and a whole nother, and, and then I sleep, and then when I woke up, I was in my bed. I didn't know what happened. So it was ingrained in us. And then I guess after that, as a musician, because I started out, I didn't start out singing. I started out having a love for drums. And me and Corey both came through those ranks together.
Yeah.
So as far as musicianship, I really learned a lot and came up with Bubby Fan. Taught me a lot about just what it means to be a musician and to work and to really lock in with a bass player, pocket, and all that kind of stuff. And I still could do a little something if they give me the right price.
Come on, Hank. The right. If you're gonna come up, I gotta be for the right price, right?
Absolutely. Also, Craig Hayes was and still is a big influence just with his choir, how his level of ministry and interaction with the crowd, and how the things I got to see being around him, being at his services, and even being with them on the road at different moments. So that was amazing. And then indirectly, I had to say Thomas Whitfield. Is anybody who knows me knows I love Thomas Whitfield. And then it's so many that I could keep going on and on about.
Yeah.
But as far as Jersey, as far as here, I would have to say my parents, Bishop Lyles, definitely, because his songwriting was ahead of its time as far as writing songs. And then Bubby Fan and Craig Hayes.
Good stuff. Good stuff. D Coast.
Wow. So I had let's see. Growing up, I was a drummer.
Yes, sir.
I started playing the drums at I think the age of like 4 or something like that. So I think one of my first influences, great influences, would be he would be my father-in-law, but he passed away many years ago. His name was Joel Miller. Joel Miller had a group called the Redeemed Delegation. And at the age of 6 years old, I used to travel around the cities and states playing the drums with him and his group at the age of 6. So I would say Joel Miller. Also, I come from a church in Hopewell, New Jersey. Dale's familiar with my former pastor and his family, the late great elder Louis Collier, who was Walter Collier's father. He was my pastor. And one Sunday night at church, he was like, I want to hear Corey play the drums. And so they had to go in the back of the church and grab this little stool for me to play the drums. I was so short I couldn't reach anything. The Colliers definitely they were great influences because a lot of summers I spent a lot of time in Newark, and they took me to St. Paul, fire baptized at the time. So I got a chance, excuse me, to experience the anniversaries where Vicky Winans would come with what's that group she used to sing with back in the day? It was a group from Jersey City, because she was part of this group from Eternal Life.
Eternal. Wow.
Eternal
You're giving
Life.
us history, Corey.
Right.
You're giving us history.
So Vicky Winans used to come to St. Paul and do their anniversaries with Eternal Life. Eternal Life was her background singers. This is like when she first married Marvin, because Mario used to come as a kid.
Skeeter.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so I I got great influences from Newark. I used to you sit there and watch Carlton, Joe, and everybody like that.
Yeah.
Then, of course, in Trenton, got a chance to look up to Gene Wilcox Rawls.
Yeah.
I started playing at the church at Grace at the age of 11, so I was traveling around with the church then, and then I started playing with Craig Hayes
Yeah.
at the age of 14. So like I did was playing the drums with Craig from nine no 89 no I'm wrong 88 to 2003.
Wow.
Then I started directing the Bishop's Choir in like the 90s. So, and then once I kind of started directing, then I really paid attention to other stuff than just music. I
Got it.
started paying attention to writing, harmonies, and different things like that. So like John said, Whitfield, Bishop Lyles.
Yeah.
Then, my favorite group of all time is the Old Mill Twins. I'll trade a lifetime.
Woo.
Jesus dropped the charges.
Oh yeah.
That's my stuff
What?
right there. I when I tell you I'm old school,
Wow.
I'm old school. Like one time they was trying to give me a surprise service, and they were going to
I'm
try
real
to
jealous right now.
get
You know
get the
that.
Old Mill Twins, and one had just passed away, so they didn't do it. But yeah, oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Man, I am learning so much right now. As long as I've been around everybody um on this live, I am learning so much. Let's move forward a little bit, and I want to talk about this the whole choir scene. We grew up around a lot of choirs, but lately, over the past few years, it seems like the choirs have diminished. Um, the participation, the churches have reduced, have been reduced to praise teams. Um, what have you guys done intentionally to help preserve the choir? I want to start with John with that. John, I want John to answer that question, and I want Mietta to answer that question, and then I got some questions for Dale and Corey.
Go ahead, Mietta.
Oh, okay. I was waiting to hear what you had to say.
He trying to throw you under the bus. That's what he's trying to
You see
do.
that? You see that? Well, it's pretty short for me because I've been out of directing the church choir for quite some time now. Um, but I was the minister of music for a little over 11 years with the church in Jersey City, True Vine, Pastor Roger Gallen was pastor at that time. And for almost 11 years, I was their minister of music. And they had both choir and praise team. And I remember him when he was starting out. He had to be about maybe 4 years into the ministry, and he was directing the choir because he is a choir guy. He was a choir man. He came from Brooklyn, New York, Bishop Rogers, and so all things choir. And he was doing both the preaching, the pastoring, and trying to manage a choir at the same time because he did not want that to be lost. And so he wanted that to remain. He asked me to come and help him out for a few years, which what I thought was maybe 2, 3 years until somebody else came along. It ended up being about 11 years that I was there.
Wow.
And I thought it was very important not just to keep the choir in the church, but keep people wanting to be a part of the choir again. Because in even though it might have been a challenge, it it was a good thing. I hear I hear an echo. I don't know who it is,
That,
but
that was me. I'm sorry.
I thought it was a good thing for people to want to be a part of the
Right.
choir again because the praise teams were coming in on the scene and they seemed to have been the hot thing, the in thing. And if you didn't have a praise team, your ministry wasn't in that kind of thing. And then the choirs would die. And I really wanted the people that I was in charge of to want to do it. And so, and also, they were also a group of people. There was about 30 to 40 of them, a group of people who weren't listening to choir music
Mm,
because the solo artists were on the scene, and they people were listening to, with no shade to them, but they were starting to listen to the solo sound and forgot about listening to the choir sound. And the one thing I would had always encouraged them to do in every rehearsal, listen, y'all, and I said this a couple of days ago. If you're going to be a choir, you want to be a part of the choir, you have to learn how to listen to choir music as a reference because you want an aggressive sound, not and I say aggressive, not in the aggressive way, but you want a fuller sound, a bigger sound. That's what the choir is supposed to sound like. The choir is not supposed to sound like the three or four or five or six people that
Right.
are in front of the church. Not those
Right.
people. You have a distinct sound. And so, and they weren't even aware. You know, the music had evolved so in our land that if they hadn't even been aware that they had stopped listening to choir music.
wow.
And once they started listening to it again, they're like, wait a minute, this is good. You know, it was never not good. It was never not good. But we had been so inundated and so overwhelmed with the solo artists, the people had stopped listening. The choir members had stopped listening to choir music,
Yeah.
and the way I was able to get them back was had to start throwing out CDs of people days gone by, you know, and say, listen to this. This is what you're supposed to sound like because listen. I ain't no small girl. I ain't no small chick, and I always sounded like I was eating greens and collard and always. I've always sounded that way. I've never not sounded that way. And so when it came to the choir, I wanted them to sound that way too. I
Yeah.
want this sound, and so they were able to start to listen to that again, and they developed a love for it again, a
Yeah.
love for it again. And so, and it was 11 years in, and it's sad to say that they no longer have a choir. I don't believe that they have a choir anymore. But the time that I was there,
Yeah.
um, that was a big thing again. It had
Yeah.
become necessary again. And
Yeah.
so, you know, you just use different tools. You just, you know, try to get them engaged, keep them engaged in choir music.
Absolutely. Good stuff. John, man, what we talking about, bro?
Well, I was thinking. That's why I'm glad she went first because I really wanted to think. So thank you, Mia. So honestly, and this may seem like a cheesy answer, uh, but when with us coming up and being around choirs, there was not every choir music was just prevalent in our area because the Caravan was the go-to for everything out of Atlantic City uh, as far as choir music. But even growing up in my church, we had a great youth choir, New Hope Youth Choir, and
Yeah.
they had us
All
singing.
closer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had us singing like grown people. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
that's what we were all always
Right,
around.
right.
You know, the Caravan set the standard. So Bubby was over our choir, and he had us. I mean, because this was our Monday nights. New Hope Youth rehearsal. After New Hope New Youth rehearsal, we'd go to Caravan rehearsal. So and then just coming off the weekend, hearing all that choir music. So that aggression was just there by default. But the one thing that I can say that in every choir situation I've been in, whether church or community, is the ones that have survived have always had a strong sense of family. Uh, we did not just church together, but we did life together. That was very important. If bills needed to be paid, if someone's in the hospital, the whole choir, we all going. We
Yeah.
all that's an element that I think really kept the consistency going. And those that didn't have that element, those were people who, didn't last.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that family environment, and then say what you want, those you could tell just by the sound. You could tell when choirs are close, when they really up there and they just ain't pieced together. They actually
Right,
got
right.
a camaraderie, they got a fellowship together. So that I would say, among other things, that family environment is what really seals it still today for me.
Oh man, that's good stuff, man. And it's interesting because Mietta was talking about keeping the choir together, and I know a lot of people probably attribute it to numbers, but just Sunday, James Hall had a concert. James Hall was a standard, whether it was five. Corey, I don't know if you made this status, but somebody put whether it was 5 or 40.
5 for 40. That's what I said. 5 for 40.
Well, in our church, whether it was 20 or
That's
4.
it. You getting up there doing it.
Listen, on a Sunday morning, and that young adult choir, and as they say growing up, we sung till times got better.
Absolutely.
It wasn't no
Right.
one verse, one chorus, vamp, and then sit down. No, we sung that verse a few times. We sung that chorus a few times. We sung the bridge and the vamp. We ran the vamp until the Holy Ghost fell.
That's it.
So it was it was real interesting, just growing up in that background. So, like keeping the choir, alive has been, I believe it's been something that has been important. And, to see you guys in your ministry still traveling with the choirs, traveling with your groups, it's just been a blessing singing choir music. Corey, I want you to tackle this for me, bro. Like with the Bishop's Choir, you've been like the writer for a lot of the stuff, musical direction, creativity, and I know you have your team with you guys. What would you attribute to the longevity of the Bishop's Choir?
You can hear me?
Yeah,
Okay. So to be honest with you, the longevity of our choir, I would have to say, uh, stems from our pastor. When we get out of check, he silences us. I don't know too many people that still get silenced, but he'll come to rehearsal and he'll say, "Y'all not singing." Well, no, he'll say, "Y'all not going out. You still got to be here on first and third Sunday, but you're not going out." So he'll let us if there's anything on the schedule that we're contracted to do, he'll let us do those contractual agreements. But then after that, we're not doing nothing. And it remains it keep us humble, and
yeah,
it keeps us knowing what our purpose is. Because
yeah.
technically, like you said, we're a church choir. So the Bishop's Choir purpose is to sing first and third Sunday. So
Gotcha.
if we don't have another appointment, we know on first and third Sunday we got to be in that choir stand and sing.
Yeah.
If not, then we know that the hammer's coming down, and if there is an appointment that's coming through, we're not going.
Wow.
So most certainly, that has been he has definitely kept us there. But the other thing is also with us, like so I try to push the envelope a little with the writing,
Yeah.
but I still try to keep it true to the church choir sound. If I could say that. So like I'm never gonna go full. Let's see who. I'm not gonna go full like Kurt Franklin or full
That was
Ty
safe.
Ty Tributor or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then even some choirs. I I'm not going to go all the way there because I know that a lot of the material that we sing we may have to pull that out on Sunday morning. So there's some stuff that I'm never going to try to attempt to sing
Yeah.
on a Sunday morning because we're a church choir.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, Dale. So I need to get a little more background and context. You said when you came in, um, stomp was it? And I want to make sure this is correct. And then when they were speaking about back in the day, did you grow up in church?
No, I didn't grow up in church. I didn't
Good.
come into the church scene until 97. Actually, I was singing gospel music in the gospel choir in Irvington at Irvington High School in 95, 94. So even during that time, I was singing songs. I didn't know who the artists were until like now that I found out we were singing a lot of Hezekiah Walker songs, a lot of Milton Brunson songs, Thomas Whitfield music,
Yeah.
all from, our administrator during that time, or an advisor, shall I say, during that time, Mr. William Farley. So it wasn't until 97 when we started Temple of Praise, TOP,
Yeah.
with with Andre Whitcher and my brother Daniel, was when I really started getting acclimated with, gospel artists and different genres of choir music, because that's what I came up before I knew anything about a praise team or groups or anything of that nature. CCM, all I knew was choir music,
Yeah.
because that's what I was brought into. Again, not knowing who they were, but I knew the songs sounded good. Believe it or not, the first song I ever directed was "More Abundantly" by Ricky Dillard. That's the first song I ever directed. I never knew it was from them and New G or anything of that nature, but that's the song that at Irvington High that I started doing, and then I had a love and a passion for it. And when I graduated from high school in '95, the advisor there made sure that I stayed in church, and he put me at a church, and that's when everything started for me.
Wow. So you came in a director.
Yeah, I came in directing when I
Love it.
started off at an
That's
AME
crazy.
church at a Mount Zion AME. It was in Milburn, and I helped them start their youth choir, church choir, and mass choir. And then at the time, my wife, who was my girlfriend back then, I met her through the Irvington High School Gospel Choir,
Wow.
and I started going to her church at Emmanuel Baptist Church in Newark, New
Yeah.
Jersey.
Wow.
And that's when everything opened up for me, because then my mother-in-law, who was the minister of music back then, made me in charge of the mass choir.
Come on
So
here.
that's when everything really opened up for me, and I wrote my first song there,
Yeah.
and I loved it ever since, and I don't look to turn back for any reason. So choir has been in me since I started, so that's all I know.
Yo.
Hold up, Pastor Dale. Somebody on the live said to ask you if you knew who the Winans was.
Hey, Gerard, man. Chill, bro. It's Gerard. So, so man, so I want to move into something that all of you guys have experienced. I want to move into the recording process. I want to move into the recording process. As independent artists, as independent artists. Um, let me see. Let's Corey, we'll start with you. Um, what would you say was one of the hardest parts of it?
Hardest part?
Hardest part and the best part.
I would say the hardest part is trying to really get people to jump on board with the vision.
Gotcha.
You know, you say recording. People know that okay, when you put out a record, then that means you really got to move. So I have. So when we started out as single people, some married people with kids. Now, the married people with kids are grandparents, and the single people are married. So like, so now it's like, okay, I don't know if we're gonna do a record because I know we got to move and we can't really move like we want to move. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to get people to get in the vision because you said we're gonna record. Everybody's showing up.
Yeah,
Everybody's showing up, but then you really can't get that same commitment um, after it's over because people got lives. And
yeah,
you can't with somebody be like I can't go because I gotta work. You can't get mad at that because I don't got the money to pay your salary.
yeah.
Um, and I guess what was the other part you said? The excitement or
The best part,
the best
the
part?
great part. Yeah,
The greatest part about it is hearing the testimonies of people that hear the music.
yeah,
You know, I remember, wow. So we were in Detroit, Michigan,
yeah,
singing, and what did we sing? I forget what song we sung. After it was over, after the concert was over, um, we were outside and everybody was loading up. This lady comes out of nowhere, and she says, "Bishop." First thing she says, "Bishop." We all started looking around because we didn't know who she was talking to. So she said, "You, Bishop," and I was like, "I'm not the bishop." She's like, "Well, it's the bishop's choir, so I'm calling you Bishop." So, so I was like, "Oh, okay." So she was like, the song. I wish I could remember what song it was, but she said the song that really touched her, and everything like that. And she said she wanted to stop smoking. So
wow,
right at that point, she was like, "Can you guys pray for us?" So I forgot that she called me bishop and myself and the tenors, which we were outside, like I said, getting ready to load up. We went ahead and we prayed for her. We lost contact with her, but that's the one of the greatest parts about ministry because you never know what may touch somebody's heart. The song that you don't like the most may be the song that blesses the people the most.
yeah, yeah. Um, me, your recording process. What's the hardest? What's been the hardest part, and what's been the best part, or the greatest part?
The hardest part was making sure that the music was relevant,
Ooh,
song selection,
Wow.
repertoire, making sure it was relevant. That was difficult. That was really, really difficult. I come from a traditional background, and so I'm much like Corey, more like him than I knew, but I know now today. I am extremely old school, and anybody who knows me knows it. So I had to really make sure that this music of mine made sense and it was going to be relevant. So I had to um, thank God I was blessed with young writers, younger writers who were able to tap into a little bit of
right.
what was happening around us um, and make me happy all at the same time, if that makes sense.
Got you.
And so it was kind of difficult to make sure that music was relatable
Yeah,
to people. The best part is the reaction. There was a lot of music that never, and I'm almost certain that these directors can attest to this. There are a lot of music, a lot of our music never even made it. It just hit the floor, right? It never even made it off the cutting room floor. It never came. Most of our music never even came out of rehearsal, if that makes sense.
You're right.
wow.
Um,
You're right.
so it was really important for the music to make sense. And then once we figured it out, and I'm not saying that we totally figured it out, but at that time, at the beginning stages, once we had laid it all out there, it was. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
um, Everything went kind of dead, but once we were able to display this music and the reaction to it, I have a story about much like Corey's story. We were at um, New Hope in North. And I don't even know what the song was, to tell you the truth, because it's a difficult thing trying to sing original music.
Yeah.
Nobody knows it. No, they don't have a clue as to who you are. You're about 2 or 3 days in on this scene, and then you come in with new music. And so it was a challenge. But I remember at this particular service in New Hope, after the service was over, a young lady came over to me and asked if we would pray with her. And it wasn't about her that needed, it was her daughter and her mom that needed prayer. Her daughter wasn't there, but the mom was there. And we ended up, we getting ready to go home. And so we ended up having to stop what we were doing and pray for this young woman. And at that point, it hit me that this is a whole lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. We just thought we were going to sing a few songs and we'd be out of here. We could record a few numbers and we'd be out of here. But then life changed. Once that happened, I had to regroup. I had to make sure from that moment on that everything we sang was touching the heart and the soul of people, not just something that made you feel good externally, but it needed to be able to change something internally in individuals, be it sickness, be it financial challenges, family challenges, whatever. Our music should be able to speak to the situations and people's problems, be able to speak to them and give relief to these situations. And so that was the best part of the recording process for me.
Yeah, good stuff. Dale, holla at me, bro. What's been one of the hardest parts, man? What's been one of the greatest parts?
The hardest part of the recording, I would say more so is not being so anxious to get things done. Because I'm new, because of course I was new to this. My first recording was in 2012, where we did breakthrough recording at Bethel Church of Love and Praise in Bloomfield, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And so, I think the hardest part of the recording was really not being so anxious, really allowing God to do his thing. If it be God, everything is going to work out within itself. And I was just so much trying to get things done, make sure everything is right, make sure everything is perfect, make sure the musicians are there, make sure the singers are there, make sure everyone, has the same mindset that I do, the same goals that I do in reference to this recording. And I think sometimes I allowed my anxiety to get the best of me.
Wow.
And me just not thinking spiritually then like how I am now, just thinking that if I would have really allowed God to be God and be the forehead and not try to make me or me not lead him, but him lead me, I think we would have got some more things accomplished. But it was, all in all, it was a good night. But I just think for more so, if I was a little more patient with God and just allowed him to lead me, things could have, came up a whole lot better. Because after the recording, we were running across the street to the bodega, to the ATM, trying to make sure that everybody got paid. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, if this is God, then everything will fall into place. Finances will fall into place. Nobody will be leaving with an attitude. Nobody will be leaving upset. All business will be taken care of. But after that night, literally after that night, we had to go across the street to the bodega. Myself, my wife, my treasurer ran out there, Marlon, all ran out there with our bank cards to make sure the sound crew was taken care of, to make sure that the church was taken care of, to make sure the engineers was taken care of. Because at the end of the day, you really can't depend on people, on an offering to help you get to your goal, to what you have for that night. And so that was the hardest thing of it all. The greatest thing of it all was to see the support and the reaction of the people that came out to be a part of my first recording. Again, this is my very, very first one. So just to see the support and the love of everybody that came to enjoy at that time Dale Ciceron and Optimistic for Christ was a complete joy. And my greatest joy was to go to Walmart and go to Best Buy, go to Target, and go to these places and see my CD on the shelf. Was just like, absolutely mind-blowing and amazing. So many great stories that I can share in regards
Yeah.
to God showing himself faithfulness, saying that even though you didn't wait for me, I'm not going to let you be embarrassed.
Amen.
And so he allowed me,
Yes, sir.
so
I like that.
that was the mercy of God to say that I'm not going to let you be embarrassed. I'm going to still give you favor. And God rest his soul. We met up with Troy Sneed of Intro Gospel, and he willingly distributed and published our album, and it was in all stores. So that was a great joy. And again, so
Yo,
many stories I can share, but
yeah. John Howard, man, speak to me. And then the next questions are gonna go to Corey and Mietta.
All right. I think one of the most challenging parts, at least in my experience, was post production. Not that it was a bad experience, but what was happening. And Corey can remember because Corey he was definitely on board with us. We were getting songs after the live recording. And when I say we were getting songs, I mean I'm talking about in rehearsal.
Yeah.
So like Flow
Flow
Like
like a river. Yeah.
that was just a worship moment in a rehearsal. And
Can I stop you?
yes, sir.
So even though Flow Like a River was a worship moment in rehearsal,
Uh-huh.
Flow Like a River turned the studio into a sanctuary
Yeah.
because everybody was speaking like it was crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody speaking in tongue and the whole nine.
Yeah.
It was so hot. John didn't want to do his lead, and I was like, "You have to do your lead right now while this anointing is on you."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's right. And so, that coming in and then like, oh man, now I got to find some more money, you know. 'Cause,
right.
nobody was backing us. We did it. It was a self. We didn't have a label or anything. So it was just like I know we got to do this song, and it was so different for us. At the moment, because most of our stuff is churchy and us high energy running around carrying on, and so that was one of the most challenging experience. But God was faithful, and then I think the most rewarding was just seeing, like you said, the lives that were touched and everything, and it was already testimonies given. I won't go that route, but honestly, just hearing it on the radio, knowing that we had no budget for radio.
Come on here.
And to see how God would open doors, we would go to different back then it was the Announcers Guild. And they had chapters all over the country. And we would pay our little fee to go on there. And then, man, come to find out, it's stuff on the radio. People would call and they would be playing stuff. So that it was just amazing to see the hand of God move, not just with his presence in the moment, but also see him move with regards to the favor on that project that God gave us.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Good stuff. So I want to pick on Corey and Mietta a little bit. Dale, then Dale and John will have you answer a question from one of our viewers. I want to pick on Dale and Mietta because John and I want to pick on, I'm sorry, Corey and Mietta because John and Dale, they're out of this category. So you guys, you get in front of people and you minister. You have the mic in your hand and you're exhorting. How have you been able to stay away from doing an initial sermon?
Wait a minute. Why are we excluded?
Yo, this is fun. This is we can have some fun.
You excluded because you a pastor and John a preacher. And Mietta be getting preaching engagements low key, but she don't go under the title. She still hasn't done her initial sermon. So I think back in the day they would call that bootlegging. Corey has these exhortation moments and these one-liners where the church just gets shaken up. And I've seen a lot of people come out of those moments and then we see a flyer for their initial sermon. So, Corey and Mietta, how have you been able to stay
Yeah.
away?
Corey, you first.
So I'll say this. I was a minister in training.
Ah,
I was a minister in training, and my pastor got sick. And when he got sick, the class kind of fizzled a little bit. But then when they brought it back up, they changed the day. So when they changed the day, I couldn't go. So I just never picked it back up.
But
that's good.
it's on you, sir. It's on you.
I just like yeah, I just never picked it up, and so like right now, many people are still finding out, but I'm the minister of worship at a church in Baltimore, Maryland,
Got you.
and they are trying to get me to preach, and
Come on, somebody.
I tell them it's not going to happen.
It's not going to
It's not
happen.
going to
It's
happen.
not gonna. Mietta, how have you been able to stay away from your initial sermon?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Okay.
No, it, that's not what I'm called to do. Um, others may differ. Others may differ, but I do. but I
I'm glad
like.
you know that.
Others may differ, but I like being a missionary in the Lord's church. I like
Ah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, because
I'm very comfortable there.
Uh-oh.
I'm comfortable. I'm
Comfortable.
comfortable there.
uh-oh.
Don't use that word, Mieta. Don't
I
use that
probably
word.
That ain't a
shouldn't
word.
use
Don't
that
use that
word.
word.
Oh man,
That ain't a good word.
it ain't a good word.
No, ma'am.
Oh, I don't feel. I really don't feel. Honestly, I don't feel the press to do it.
Good.
I'm not in a rush at all. Although we do know the time is winding up, right? But
Right.
I am in no the time is winding up. I am in no rush. I do the best that I can to just only say what he says
Yeah.
and only do what he tells me to do. And when
Yeah.
he stops talking, so do I.
Wow. Wow. Good stuff. Good stuff. This next question is for John and Dale. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Want you guys to tackle this. Now I definitely know Dale has advertised this, but I don't know the frequency, and I don't know the prerequisites. And I know John definitely has have some rebranding moments, um, but again, no advertisement or no. So, how often do you guys open up your choir for auditions, and what do you look for in a choir member?
For me personally, I would normally just put it out there, as a promotion, maybe maybe twice a year, but more so once a year. Because most of the times with me, people will either reach out to me personally and see if I'm interested in any other additional choir members to be a part of the ministry or whatever. And of course, I invite them, and to come and sit in the rehearsal for about maybe 2 3 rehearsals, see if they are comfortable with us, and see if these are the type of songs that they can see themselves being ministered to, and then also ministering out to other people. So with the choir audition, it's really like, for me personally, like I said, it's like no more than twice a year that I would actually open it up to the public and tell people, hey, we're looking for additional singers. The only thing that I look for personally, I mean, of course, um, got to be saved, got to be filled. I know it's gonna sound deep and all of that stuff, but it's how can you minister a song that you know nothing about in the word? You know what I mean? We can be singing anything, and if you're not conscious to what you're singing, you can be saying anything to anybody, and they're gonna
Yeah,
take your
buddy.
word for it. You know what I mean? So you definitely got to know the word of God, and I definitely look for stability. You know, this can sound a little selfish, and I may get rebuked for this, but I can't take choir members that sing in 25 other different choirs. it drives me crazy, because it's like now I'm competing with all 24 other choirs that you sing in. When we got to go out and sing somewhere, you can't come with me because you got to sing with that person or you got to go with that person. So that kind of stuff, it drives me crazy. So I look for stability, I look for consistency, and I look for and dependability. I look for all of these things in a choir member, and of course, good singing.
Yeah.
I'm a little different with that. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to offend nobody,
Yeah.
especially in a choir. But but I take those that have a heart to do it. Now there are some that we said, all right, we appreciate you, but
Wow.
how about ushering? Is ushering? You ever thought about that before? Or anything of that nature? But
we need some hostess for our events.
yeah,
You know,
like you ever thought about
Right.
We need a nurse. We need a nurse.
yeah, a nurse. You ever thought about being an adjutant or something? Stuff like that. But I try to take them and try to really cultivate them as best as possible, and that if their heart is in it, they'll work it. If not, then we'll find different avenues for them.
Got you, John.
Well, believe it or not, I have never had auditions.
Okay.
It's just never been. I wasn't brought up. I just did what was modeled before me. So I felt like my job was to make you and help you sing. So if you came to me with a desire to sing, and there were some challenges there, I would definitely try to work and do whatever I needed to do to get you along vocally.
Yeah.
And give me whatever it is I needed. So because I wanted to make, regardless, even if you came with your own and you could sing, that didn't mean that you had the sound that I was looking for. That's something that had to be cultivated.
Ooh.
So I think as a director, part of our job, and then see, I do it, for a living. I teach music. I'm a school music teacher, so that's just, I have a passion for that. So that's just part of what I do. So I never did that. Now, as far as things I look for, you have to be. I wanted you to be a member of a church.
Yeah.
But even with that, we have Bible study in my rehearsals. We've always done that for 20 years. And the reason is, back when we first started, people weren't talking about Levites all the time 20 years ago. It's now pretty popular now, but back then, 20 years ago, it was something that the Lord showed me, and I was new to it. And that was the direction the Lord gave me. So I knew that the people that were coming along didn't know what that was. So it was my job to teach that. But then it became kind of a standard for our ministry. So I wanted you to definitely be a member of a church, be saved, have a relationship with the Lord, dependable, and all the customary things that we need. I also wanted you have a requirement that you are committed to your church.
Wow. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely
committed to your church. So we've always had a good rapport with pastors and leaders because we still push the ministry of the local church before being out on the road with us. So that's what I look for in a choir member. And there's some other things, but I won't keep going on with that. But that's
got you. So what advice would you give to someone that's starting a choir? I need 60 seconds from all of y'all. 60 seconds from all of y'all. Let's start with Dale. Somebody starting a choir, what advice would you give them? Because they're going to be leaders. People are going to be following them. What advice would you give them? What advice would you give them?
Just quickly, be prepared to reap what you sown.
That's nice.
If
Yes,
you was a terrible follower, you are going to have some terrible followers with you. If you was one that subjected under your leader and did what you were supposed to do under your leader, those are the kind of people that will come to you. But just be prepared to reap what you sow.
Hey, Dale. Hey, that's a oneness answer. That's an old school. That's an old school holiness oneness answer. That was something they be telling people when they about to go start their own church.
Listen here, look here. Don't start nothing here. We in a pandemic. I don't think we want to go that route. But
Corey, what would you advise? What kind of wisdom would you share with the person? What questions would you ask? How would you help them?
I would ask them why. We'll ask them why because, a lot of people see the glitz and the glamour. Thank you. They see the glitz and the glamour of what it is that people do, and they'll say, "I want that,"
Oh,
but they're not ready, and they're not equipped to take the stripes that we took to get in that place. Because when it really gets heated, they walk away. I know some groups that were together for like maybe 5 months, but when it got hot and heavy, they weren't ready for that. So
yeah.
my question would be like why, and then when if they gave me the wrong answer, I would tell them don't.
Woo.
And that's me because I maybe probably yeah I'm the bad one out of this bunch. I'm the bad one. I get a lot of thorns because I say what it's supposed to be said. I'm not gonna
Absolutely.
sugarcoat it. But I would tell them don't because if you're not ready. Well, I'll say this and I'll be done with it. My pastor teaches us something at the church, and he teaches us in order to be a leader, you have to be a bleeder. You got to be a bleeder of time. You got to be a bleeder of finances. And you got to be able to bleed everything, and that's what it's going to take in order to have a successful ministry.
Wow. Me, what you got for us, sis?
My answer is no different than I have to say Corey's answer.
Okay.
Why? Um, you really have to be prepared to be disappointed. Um,
Ooh.
um, because you're gonna be. And if you don't have
Yes.
the stomach for it, then inside of 6 months you'll be done.
You
Inside of
have to
six
be
months you'll
prepared to be
be
disappointed.
disappointed.
Wow.
Got to be prepared for
Absolutely.
that. And if you can't wrap your mind around that because you believe that you're so popular and so many people love
Woo.
you, and you the it thing, you the thing that's gonna carry us all to wherever. Um, be prepared to be disappointed because
Yeah.
it will happen. None of us are
Absolutely.
exempt from it. We're not that special. We're just
that's right.
not.
You're right.
Um,
You're
Stuff
right.
gonna happen, uh, and you have to be prepared for that, and not take it personal all at the same
That's
time.
key.
Ooh.
That's
You
key.
can't take it personal. You have to know that these people who have chosen to follow you are not your people.
Yes,
They're God's people,
yes,
and you got to take
Yep.
whatever happens. You got to have the stomach for that.
yes.
That's
You got to
pastoral
have
advice.
because I'm from the
Yeah.
hood too.
Wh-
Uh-oh.
And if
I'm
you ain't
trying
got
to
the
Where's
stomach,
those license? Where's those license?
That's
see,
it.
watch it.
see,
Listen,
see.
I'm done.
Get her a
King,
collar.
As
You skip the tab, you go straight to the full collar.
Ah,
look, as
Straight to the collar.
as the pastor of the Choir Baptist Church, I ordain you, woman of God.
There it is.
That
Lift
was
your
But
good.
hands.
that's
That
it.
was good.
That is
John?
Uh, Along with what everyone else said, if you are not ready to do life with the people that serve with you, don't start a choir.
Ooh.
right.
Uh, you are for the journey that you're on. You're going to be with people who get married and then get divorced. You're going to be with
Right.
people and you're going to have to help them bury their parents. You're going to have to
Ooh.
help them
Right.
bail their children out of jail. And,
Right.
you know, telling them to turn around 3 times and sing, I made it, is not going to help them. You have to be willing to do life.
Life. That's
And
right.
here's the thing, you have to be willing to bear your own scars and your own mistakes before your people. You're going to have to
Ooh.
tell
Right.
them about your mistakes before the streets tell them about their mistakes. If you can't do that, I never listen. I had my son, I had my oldest son, I had him out of wedlock. And
Jesus.
I had to go and tell, oh, yeah.
But I made it. Oh, I made it.
And listen, he is 14. But my point is, I had to go and tell them myself
Yes, you did.
Right.
Yes.
before the streets hit them and told them. If you ain't ready to deal with your own lumps and deal with their lumps all at the same time, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Wow.
Absolutely. I
This
agree.
this this is great, and I pray that somebody listening is definitely picking up wisdom from people who have been doing this for more than many people are their age. They've been doing this for years. They have decades in this, and this is wisdom speaking on tonight. Um, Let me ask you a question. Like this can go to anybody that wants to answer on this one. Um, what would you like to see as it pertains to choirs, um, the revival of choirs, or material? What would you like to see as it pertains to choir?
Harmony.
3 part, or you mean getting along?
3 part.
From the beginning.
From the beginning. Exactly.
From the
Yes.
beginning.
This
Don't get
I
me
would
wrong.
I
It's-
would jump the gun to say that I would love to see more unity amongst us.
that too.
Um, and not be competitive against one another. I think I think we all have the same goal. We should all have the same mindset to win souls and to encourage, inspire one another. Um, and I only say that from the perspective that of how hurt I was personally, and not from these guys, because every last one of these guys, when I was doing the New Jersey Throwback concert, reached out to me personally and expressed to the reasons to why they could not attend, and I appreciate that. But for others not to even not to respond or not even show up, just for one time for us to just come together. It's not about me. It's not about John. Not about me. It's not about Corey. It's just about us as artists, as musicians, as directors, having an opportunity to come together and celebrate each other and then honor those that paved the way for us. So, if anything that I would love to see come out of this after this pandemic and everything is over, I would love to see us right here put a concert together with us singing and inviting whoever else that we want to add on to the card.
Let's do it.
All right, let's roll.
Uh, Corey Shipley.
Done.
I'm not even gonna tell everybody what the D stands for if they don't know. We got to go back to the 3 parts. I need some explanation on that. I need some explanation on that one.
So I mean, and I'm not taking anything away from the CCM music,
Okay.
but I think what happens a lot of times, excuse me, is that a lot of people listen to the radio, and they feel as though If I'm going to make it to the radio, I gotta write like the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And I'm going to say that you do not have to write like the radio to make it to the radio. You write like yourself. You write what God gives you. Don't try to write what's on the radio. Write what God gives you.
Amen.
And if it is harmony, go with it. Because you never know how God is going to anoint that song and take it.
Yeah.
And I think that one thing that a lot of choirs lack, they lack identity, and it's because they try to do what
Adios.
somebody else is doing.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. Don't, and it's not a knock on anybody, but write what God gives you. Don't try
Yeah.
to don't hear the song on the radio and be like, man, I need a song like that, and go home and try to force yourself to do it. Because
Right.
when you force yourself to do it, like Mietta said, that those are the songs that never leave rehearsal. I got some songs that I taught the Bishop's Choir, and they laughed me out the room, and I'm their director.
Yeah.
Because I forced myself to try to write like something that I heard, and
Wow.
that's not what we do.
Yeah.
So when they laughed me out of rehearsal, I said to myself, you know what, I'm now going to just write what God gives me, and that's where I'm at. And like I said, and it could be the unison. It could be the unison because I need you to survive. It's one of the biggest songs in gospel, and
Mm-hmm.
it's unison.
Yeah.
However, if that's not what God gave you, then don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah. Good stuff. Mietta, what would you like to see?
I I would like to see this, and this is y'all can kind of elaborate on it if you like, but this is what I am a firm believer of. Authenticity is the best ministry, and
Authenticity is the best ministry. Yes.
it's the
Yes.
best
Yeah.
ministry.
Absolutely.
Um, being who God called you to be, you'll never have to explain it. You'll never have to get into debate about it if you just do what He says do. And I think that is what's lacking in um, a lot of our newer, not necessarily the older, but the newer things. They're so busy trying to fit in to what the industry is looking for that they very seldom or or they kind of miss what the ministry is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
Gospel music is a very distinct. It has the blueprint. It has the message. You stick to the message, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. The problem is we try to go past the message,
Yeah.
and then it gets lost. It gets lost in translation because we're so busy trying to go past what God has already laid out for us.
Yeah.
And if we just stick to the plan, just stick to the plan. I know. Listen, there was a song I won't turn back on our second project. I had three projects on our second project, and I'll never forget. It was the most disheartening thing to hear, but I had to go with it. It was okay. I heard there was a radio announcer that I spoke with out of Georgia. He called me through the company that we were with, called me and said that, I love that song. Now, it's a real churchy song, real church. My mother leads the song. And that's how church it is. That's how traditional it is. My mama leads it. And he said, I love that song, but I can't play it on the radio. And so in my
Wow.
mind, I'm thinking, you can't get no churchier than this. You can't get like what exactly do they want us to do? And I told him, I said, well, sir, I respect what you say because you sitting in the booth and you're spinning the record or you doing what you do. He said, but I told him, I said, but I have to be me. And if you cannot play it, I respect that. No problem at all. You get no
Yeah.
arguments from me, we'll move on. We'll just move on. And that's what we had to do. I'm not going to change who I am or who God has called us to be. simply
Yeah.
because I'm trying to be popular. I can't afford to do that because one thing I am clear on is that people are temperamental and and they love you today and it may not work tomorrow. So you have to be in any choir director, leader of anything, you gotta be true to who you really are. That's longevity. That's
Yeah.
what longevity is. You have to be true. Even if you're not on the stage with the A-listers, you have to be true to who you are. And people will respect that. People will respect
Absolutely.
that. So
Yeah.
that's what I believe. I think that authenticity is something that we're starting to lose,
Yeah.
and we can't afford to lose that. We can't afford
Got
to
you.
lose that.
Real talk. John, what would you like to see, bro?
I would like to see directors make sure that their choir members are musically proficient. Uh, that is very, very vital, and it's very important. Um, it goes beyond just teaching the soprano, the alto, and the tenor part. Uh, pour into them musically. Of course, ministry wise, absolutely, but musically, we need to make sure our people are good.
Yeah.
To the point where if an artist comes in town, all right, and you have an opportunity to maybe provide background vocals or something like that, you have a proficient group of people who can handle the task and who
Right.
can learn quickly and who can step up to the plate. Uh, Also, just even diving into other types of have people, if the Lord gives you something off the top in the moment, in a worship moment, uh, they should be able to follow you and find their part. Right.
Woo.
Absolutely.
If you're in a moment and the Lord just begins to
That's good.
download and give you the song of the Lord or a prophetic song right then and there, your people should be able to back you up, break that thing up in harmony, and know what it is you want in any given moment, climb keys, whatever. So I would like to see a lot more of that. And I'm gonna say this, and it's just the truth anyhow. The CCM, the music, I love it and I sing it. All right, so I want to be clear on that. I sing it, but what happens? It does not provide a platform for musical proficiency because a lot of it is just unison and it's very basic. And I don't have a problem with that. But just because you could sing, how great is our God, or sing something from Jars of Clay, Hillsong, or something like that, which is just one line, and that line is pretty monotonous. Now you're going to say a lot of words about flowers and streams and grass and things like that, but you will not be musically
Flowers.
proficient. And that's no knock again, all right? Because we flow like
Oh,
a river.
that's
We flow like a
You
river.
flow like a river,
Right?
brother.
But what I'm saying is, you know, we I just don't want you to be poetic. I want you to be melodic.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. I don't just want you to be poetic. I want you to be melodic.
melodic.
I
I
want you
like
to be
that.
melodic. Choir directors out there, prepare your groups to be able to flow. Even though you have your set list, you don't know what the environment is going to be right before you get up. And you have to be studied and versed and to be able to handling different flows, different denominations, different settings, whether you're on a showcase concert or whether you're the headliners. You got to be able to be versatile so that you can be
Absolutely.
effective in ministry. Um, those were great points. Those were great points. Corey, I saw you make a commitment to answer Marlon's question. And I think it goes back to, and the reason why I'm calling you out on it is because you talked about the why. And I'm going to put Marlon's question up so everybody can see it. Here we go. And we talked about the why.
Oh, that's a good question.
So,
Mhm.
so
Mm.
in my mindset, and in my heart, Every artist is not called to be on a national platform. And I'll speak from myself. So I put myself out there as a quote unquote solo artist, but I just put myself out there because I had some music that I wanted to be put out there. I know that I'm not called to be a national artist on a national platform. I'm a local yokel. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be honest enough with yourself to know that, am I ready for that national platform, or am I still going to be the local yokel? Because when you go to the national platform, you're going to see a lot of things that's going to make you want to change your mind.
Ooh.
And you're going to see a lot of things. You're going to hear a lot of things, and that's going to make you want to honestly change your mind about wanting to be on that platform. And you might say, you know what, I'm not doing this no more. So, like you said, it goes back. It goes back to that other question. It's the why. Are you doing this because you want that national platform, or are you doing this just for the glory of God? You know,
Mm,
and so what's the scripture? Your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men.
right.
Not all great men are on the national platform. There are some great men that are local yokels.
Ooh.
And there are some great men that are local that can put you in places that the people on the national platform might have you pay for, that you'll get on for free.
Ooh.
So it goes like Marlon. My answer is everybody's not called for it. And that's not a stab at nobody or anything like that, because I believe that the people who are nationally known and that get those platforms, they're ready for that. There's something that God equipped in them, that they were prepared for that. And if God's preparing me for that platform, prepare me, God. But right now, I'm just not there. You got to be honest enough to say that I'm just not there.
Can I say something
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
to add on that? Ambition is a dangerous thing.
Sure is.
Your ambition to be something you're not will get you embarrassed, and put you in places that you are not equipped to handle. Our ambition has to be strictly to operate at the level God has called for us to operate at, and be good with that. There is nothing wrong with just being a local or regional artist, and just because you record does not mean you are a national artist, and just because you record does not mean you are an artist. So
Right,
it don't mean you
right,
recorded music. We got to make sure that ambition is not, self ambition is not what's leading us. If we're going with God, if our ambition is just to honor, and listen, I could be honest and say that is a tempting thing, because people will get in your ear and tell you where you need to be, or where they see you, or these accolades that people give you will have you kind of thinking that you're at a place that you really not, or have you competing with people, and the only thing we need to be worrying about is trying to please God. So along with what Corey said, very true. But that thing with ambition is a dangerous thing. It is lethal. It will have your choir going against other choirs. It will have, listen, ambition. I'll say this: ambition has a lot of directors getting turned out and stuff like that, and it was never supposed to happen. But they wanted the platform, and their life
They
ain't never
wanted that
been the
platform.
same no more.
there you have it.
That's right.
Ladies and
Because
gentlemen, we are live tonight with Dale,
There it is.
Corey, Mietta, and John Howard. Go ahead, Dale. What was you about to chime in on?
no, I was just gonna say that many may have the potential, but they can't handle the position. You know, and you may have that
Wait,
potential to
repeat
have them.
that again. Repeat that phrase again, sir.
that many may have the potential, but you can't handle the position.
Woo!
And with and that's all I got to say in regards to that. You know, I'm just hitting it with one line.
One line.
With one line.
One
That's
line.
it. Because it's a dangerous thing. Because are you willing to sacrifice everything to get to a major platform?
My God.
And I was even questioned. And John, you nailed it. I was questioned when MySpace was out. A gentleman came. I don't know who he was, but he asked me, "How much are you willing to give up to get national fame?" So here I am, being all spiritual and deep. Well, whatever God says, you know, that's what it shall be.
Mm-hmm.
He said, no offense to nobody, but he said, "Nigga, stop playing with me. I'm asking you a question. What are you willing to give up for national fame?" And I'm like, so my response to him was, if you are going in the direction I think you're going, if I never get national fame, I'm good where I am. His response to me was that don't let your ego cause you to miss out on a great opportunity. So if
I think the
got
same
hit
person
with that,
contacted
how
me.
many other people got hit?
Wow.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm good where I am. I know I can handle the position if God was to allow me to have it. But if that's what it's going to take for me to get there, I'm good where I am.
Selah.
Sheila.
If it's God, you will be able to keep your integrity intact. You see what I'm saying? You will be able to keep everything going, not for that platform. You won't, you know, it's, you know, I was a man when I came into it. I want to remain that in every sense of the word. And that's, it's just the truth of what goes on in this industry. And I'm probably going too far, so I'll be quiet.
No, I think so. Here's the thing with that, guys. Here's the thing with that. I think we really have to let people know the honest truth about things, because they have a perception based on what they see on stage, but they don't know what has gone on before you got on the stage. I had the opportunity to play for Mietta for the first couple of years, and we honestly would have moments where we did not know physically if she would be able to make it through the engagements. But she would get up there, she would minister despite the sicknesses and episodes she would have. So they have a certain perception of you guys because you're on stage and they see you guys on the platform, but they don't know how to handle those DMs and those instant messages. And we have to tell, it's important, like legit. You know what's crazy? Even though you guys are independent on this live tonight, you're from New Jersey. So many people know about you guys. We are 6 degrees of separation from, and even closer. Some of us 2 degrees. Some of us direct numbers to, you know, people who are A-listers. And you know, those relationships matter, but what's even more important is giving them the honest truth about what happens when they're not on the stage.
Yeah.
When they're not on the stage, they have to know it's not just about the performance, but it's about the lifestyle. John, you
But you know what, Jason?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I know you said that you're not always on the stage, but realistically you are, because there's always somebody watching you. You will always have somebody watching you, whether you're on a physical stage or off a physical stage. Yep. Social media has demised so many people because they thought they were off the stage and they can say and do whatever they want, and not understanding that people still had them on a platform.
This is why you can't get mad at Larry Reed and them people all doing them blogs, doing all that crazy stuff, because they only thrive off of bad lifestyles.
Mhm.
That's
You gave it to them.
yeah, you gave
You
it.
gave it to
Wow.
You gave it to
You
them.
gave
There
it.
They,
you
they
go.
definitely gave it to
Them.
him.
They get their sponsorship off of
From you.
us not living right, off of our bad choices, off of us filming our bad choices and putting and having cameras when we're making bad choices. That's what's happening. You know, I mean, and I am not a proponent of sin, all right, but you ain't even sinning smart. That's the
Not even smart.
you know, it's I mean, come on now. You know, that's the thing. You know, we are when and the reason I'm saying this, all of us on here, when we first started, we started really without social media. We started without cell phones. We started out
Right.
20 years ago, 2000. The choir
25.
made me buy
25.
a cell phone. We
Yes,
didn't
the
have
choir
it.
did. The choir
Right.
made you
And it
buy it.
was a Nokia, one of them thick ham sandwich joints.
Yes, you
And
did.
they made me buy, you know, and I've seen how it has progressed over the years. And you know, we have to be very careful. And for me, it's just like, you know, I don't want to be if that's what it takes to be on top, you know, I'm fine. And here's the flip side. I love what I do, but I have a job, I have a career where it's not the money isn't maneuvering me around or the desire, or I don't need the royalties or what have you. Thanks be to God, you know. So you know, it's just so much that goes into what's happening now with a lot of industry choices and a lot of industry you know, things that are going on. You know, but I think it all flows from ambition, and I love what you just said, Dale.
Yeah, you're always on the stage, and you can't forget that. You know, at the end of the day, you know, our character matters. Our character
Yes, it
matters,
does.
and the
Yes, it
decisions that
does.
we make personally don't just affect us. They affect those that we lead. They affect, you know, our families. And you know, one of the things I remember when we became members of the church, even though I was born in the church, I watched people get sworn in on Sunday mornings. And one of the
Morning.
questions, one of the questions that they asked them, like, do you agree not to bring a reproach upon the church?
Yes, sir.
And it's like, I do. And you know, that has to be a question, you know, to the believers. Do we agree not to bring a reproach upon the
Wow,
church?
that's awesome. Yes, sir.
You're not
Because
going to get an answer.
it's crazy, because what one person sees one director do, they seem to generalize all of them.
Right.
Just like people.
Exactly. It's like when you try to tell people to come to the GMWA.
There we go.
There we go.
When you try to get people to come to the GMWA, the first thing they'll say is, "I'm not going to that because of people's lifestyles and things like that." And then my rebuttal to that is, well, you sing with the same people that have those same lifestyles. So what's the difference? And if that's what you're going there to look for, then of course it's not going to be the right decision for you. But if you're going to go there to do what it is that it's called, the Gospel News Workshop of America, then be worried about it.
Right.
You know, you
Good
go
answer.
you go to these Saturday night concerts. It's the same thing. It's no bigger. I mean, it's no better. It's just a big larger scale. So I just want people to be honest. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But we got to be truthful with these things.
Yo, you are absolutely right. You got to be truthful and got to be honest. And I think even in that, um, we kind of sometimes have to check people.
Yes.
We kind
However, though, we're living in a society now where people don't want to be checked.
No, they don't. You know what? It's crazy because I remember getting a call, right, about something someone said publicly online social media, right? But it was a response or clapback to something that was already said. And so the person called me, was like, well, what do you think about this? Why did your boy say this? And I'm like, well, you wouldn't have got that response had your person never opened their mouth. And it's like, if people would be quiet, then they won't have to worry about the clapback. It's like, in the age of, people are really talking about the freedom of speech. Like, well, guess what? It might be free for you to say it, but there's going to be a price paid once you say it, especially depending on what you say. So it's like, if you open your mouth, you're going to be susceptible to whatever comes back at you. You're not saying it in safe environments, and probably shouldn't be saying it at all, especially if you can't repeat it publicly. But I think, sometimes, Corey, like, that response in the manner that you did it is absolutely great, because, people have to come out of that place of being judgmental. Exactly. And like I said, they have perceptions from afar. They have perceptions from afar, and have allowed people to fill their ears with their opinions of things. Corey, were you about to say something?
Yeah, and I get stuck when I talk about the MWA, but like, even with that, people don't know that you come to the GMWA and you come there to go to class. Those classes are accredited classes. Like, you get college credits for these classes.
That's right.
Wow.
Where can you go get a college credit for a week of classes? Like, wow. So it's like, a lot of people have different things to say about all our church conventions, but some people have never ever been.
Right.
But they got so much to say. Mm-hmm. Like, some people have so much to say about our individual ministries, but they have never ever experienced a rehearsal, or they have never really experienced talking to one of us one-on-one.
Yeah.
So it's like, before you make your judgment off of what somebody said, come talk to us, and maybe that'll help you understand what's going on with us.
Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, so I got like 2 questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up. But I want to talk to Dale and I want to talk to Corey. Right? I'm gonna direct these at you two, because both of you have publicly said this, right? And I talked about how if you say something publicly, there's a response. Dale, I want to talk to you, and Corey, I want to talk to you, man. How have you guys? You guys have a bravery and a confidence that I really admire. And here's what I'm saying, right? That was kind of like a setup. You guys have publicly admitted that you don't sing. But every concert that I've been to, you've been singing. Bro, help us get that type of confidence to be bold.
That echo came. Do y'all hear this?
Oh, I hear it now.
Yeah, it came back when Pastor Mietta came back.
Oh, obviously, see, stop that. I'm sorry. I went out. Cut that out. Stop that. Let me turn this off. Let me see something.
Okay.
Is it?
I think it's still there.
Yep.
I think we're good.
No, it's all right. You want me to go first? Pastor Dill?
Sure.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
Yes, sir. Please.
I'm not a singer. What I tell people is I'm the fat Kurt Franklin.
Stole my answer.
I'm a hype man. And whatever it takes to get the job done, that's what I do. I jump up and down. I've been blessed to be able to hold it on. But if you ask me to riff, it's not happening.
Yeah, but you got a mean falsetto.
Absolutely.
I've heard it. I've heard it.
Pray for me. But yeah. So whatever for me, if I have to sing, I will. You know, I think I'm the praise and worship leader. But I hate it. Because I don't like singing. I'd rather be behind the drums. But I don't do it anymore.
Wow. Good stuff.
I think for me, I got forced to sing because at the time when you didn't have leaders that would give you what you desire from a song, and you kind of know what you want from it, you kind of just step out and just do it, and just pray you don't flop. So, but I'm more of an exhorter. I exhort. If I hear the key, I'm on it, and I'm gonna run with it.
Facts. I've definitely experienced hell. Like, oh, it's on me tonight. He knew it. He knew it. But again, I appreciate you guys knowing, but still doing what needed to be done for ministry to go forth. So, man, I appreciate you guys. So as we're closing out, I want to talk about what you guys got going on.
I don't have it.
What do you have going on? New music, singles, reunions. We gonna. Who we want to start with? Dale. We had a little listening party the other night.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what we're working on. I guess we're going to be working on our EP as soon as everything is up and lifted. I'm excited about that. I definitely, like I said before, I definitely want to work with these other guys in putting a We Survived It concert together. Now, I know what Jonathan Dunn said. We're going to be a whole bunch of Survived It concerts and all of that stuff. And if Jonathan is watching this, I rebuke him now. I heard his statement. I felt kind of convicted, like, oh, snap. But I definitely would love to do a concert with my fellow co-laborers right here. And November will be the next New Jersey Throwback concert. I don't want to put it out there prematurely, but there is something big that I want to do in regards to that night. As I get closure on that, if it comes together, I will put it all out there.
Good stuff. Can't wait to hear it. John.
Well, like I said, we actually excited about celebrating 20 years of ministry. We had our reunion plan. That was supposed to happen back in March. And then we were planning our main anniversary celebration this summer. But of course, everything's now having to be adjusted. So we're praying about if we could have it in November. Our reunion at the end of October, and then have our main anniversary in November. But we're still playing it by ear like everyone else is. But with that said, I'm trying to. Oh, it's gone. All right. So the echo's going crazy. So with that said, we're about to do put a single out, a new single. It's the first piece of music we've released in 14 years. So that'll be out probably in the next month at the latest. So it's called The Name of Jesus is Lifted High. It's a little different for us, but we pray you guys like it. But it's going to be coming out shortly. We'll probably have a listening party to release it to let everybody know what's going on. But we're in the midst of trying to rebrand and regroup. didn't take time off, but I was living in Alabama for the last 4 years, so we weren't singing as frequently as we were. I would come up and, but now, been able to move back home. So we're going to hit the ground running. So please just go to our website, jhetl.com, and look out for us. We're on Instagram, Facebook, all of that good stuff.
Cool. Corey, what we got going on, bro?
So tomorrow, we will be re-releasing our second record, God Has Been Good to Me. So we put that out in 2004 when independents didn't have access to the digital platforms. So a lot of people have been asking for All Things. A lot of people have been asking for I Made a Vow, Power, different songs like that. So midnight tonight is your opportunity. From midnight tonight till Jesus come back, you can get God has, you can get God Has Been Good to Me. I was really working on starting to get some Christmas music together. So preferably, if things go right, we can still get in the studio and do those things. But I'm looking forward to helping John get his next record together.
Yo, me too. You know what? I think I'm gonna
know.
step out. I think I'm gonna step out my lane and come down there to some of the studio sessions and do my ditty. I mean,
People don't know me, John, and Jared. We a team.
That's
facts.
We a ball-headed team, and
That's right.
we did it. We did it with the first record.
Yeah.
And, these John and Jared are my brothers.
That's right.
Yeah.
And and I'll say this about anybody. If we have kindred spirits, I'll come help anybody. I've gone all the way to Buffalo, New York, and help produce my brother's record. If anybody needs me, I'll be right there. And I will say this, and I'm making it known. I want to do something with Mietta. Like, I think the first time I ever heard her sing was we were in Atlantic City, and this is many years ago. We were in Atlantic City. John had a service at
that wasn't Second Baptist. It was Second Baptist.
Second Baptist, yeah. He had a service at Second Baptist, and we were singing Mietta and I think Charles Butler and Trinity song.
Yes.
That was at my church.
No,
it wasn't. Nah, this was an anniversary, bro.
No, it wasn't an anniversary. It
wasn't.
It was just a service.
Okay, I remember that.
It was a service, and the first, like I said, that was the first time I heard her sing.
No, I don't know.
And when she was singing, and she got to that woo 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 woo, I was like, you know what? She got the Holy Ghost. But yeah, I want to do something with her. I don't know if I got to get her to come down to lead a song or whatever it's going to be. But before I leave here, that we going to make that happen.
I am humble. I'm humble. I certainly will. Yes, I will. I certainly will. Wow.
Man, I can't wait for midnight. For midnight. I know I have the CD around here, but I'm ready to hear. You said God has been good to me.
God's been good to me. Yes, sir.
I got the verse to me. Hard copy.
Wow. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Mietta,
Red one.
25 years. What do we have coming up?
Well, the plan is to celebrate the 25th year celebration with Mietta, Stancil, Farrar, and Tehillah. It's scheduled to happen in December. The first in December 5th. That's when it is scheduled, and of course we're doing everything pending the earth. Once the earth opens up to us again and we can move about freely, then that is the plan. And so all roads at this point are leading to that. And that's pretty much what what we're preparing for that this year. Daisha and I have been fortunate enough, because I do have a husband. I know some people do know, but I got one of those. And I got one of those. And so, and we'll be celebrating 30 years of marriage this year in November.
Wow.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Lord has been really good to us, really good to us. And so we were able to release our first of many children's books.
Wow, dope.
Just released about a month or so ago, and it's moving pretty quickly. The power of social media and friendship has moved it at an accelerated rate. Didn't really know what would come of it because it was under wraps for so long, but my sister-in-law had an idea, and she clued us in on the idea, and so we have this children's book now that is dedicated in memory to my daughter, Mia, who passed away in 2005. So gotcha. That's what's going on now. But as far as the ministry in particular, the singing ministry, we're all roads are leading to December to celebrate. And I hope you all guys can come and be a part of this. It's such an honor to be on this platform with all of you. Awesome, awesome, awesome Levites. All of you. Thank you, Jason.
Honor is mine.
Honor.
Yeah, it's been great, guys. Just real quick, please repeat if you have music on digital platforms. Anybody? I know Corey said something is dropping tomorrow. Dale, you have music?
Yes, you can go to all digital outlets, Apple, Spotify, Rhapsody, all of that stuff. You can find our single, I've Got All I Have to Win. Also, our other single that we dropped last year, I'm Not Defeated. And you can also find the whole Breakthrough album in 2012. From 2012, you'll find that as well. You can follow us on our fan page, Dale Ciceron and Psalms of Praise on Facebook. You can also follow us on Instagram as well. And so that's what we have. And y'all just, again, look out for the EP. Once Mietta said, once the earth opens up, we're going to get right into it and start working hard to bring out some more good quiet music alongside with my co-laborers right here.
Yeah, good stuff. John?
We have our current project. Well, our project has been out for a while. It's the end result. It's on all digital outlets. And we'll have our single coming out soon. And then just look out for our 20th anniversary celebration. Like Mietta and Dale were saying, as soon as things open up, we'll start getting some things. Let me say this real quick. Everybody, before let's collaborate and check everybody's calendars so that everybody's concerts is not on the same weekend. Once, because people
right.
conferences, everybody's gonna have a Mega Fest every weekend. So make sure that we know how to get in touch with each other. Let's just check with each other to make sure we can all be at each other's events to support. But that's the information I got for you, sir.
Cool.
Well, definitely the third Sunday night in November. Who is that? Who I mess up?
Oh, you didn't mess with nobody. We just
laughing because you already got the date.
Oh yeah, for sure. Third Sunday night in November. That is the New Jersey Throwback Concert. And again, once I get everything solid, I'll put it out there exactly what we're gonna do. But it's gonna be really big.
Yo, great. Looking forward to it, man. Again, it's been a pleasure having you guys. There's so much more we can talk about. We'll come back.
We gotta do a part two. We gotta do a part two, and we have to talk about we got to talk about the rich gospel history of this state.
Absolutely.
There's a lot that we have in this state that people I don't want to say people overlook, but they might overlook it because they just don't know. But I want to say this is the season to let people know that Jersey's been at this thing for a long time.
Absolutely.
And I'll just say one name, Reverend Lawrence Roberts.
There we go.
Reverend Lawrence Roberts is the First Baptist of Nutley. Is that
Nutley,
that's what?
Yeah,
Nutley. You know what I'm saying? If you just research him, and their church choir alone, you will find such rich history about Reverend Roberts. So
Mhm.
yeah, we got a lot to talk
Yeah,
about.
Well, we'll
Corey,
definitely.
to that, Corey, if you, I was just listening, I have the cassette of his one of his recordings. I've been
Wow.
listening to the cassette, like you got to put it in the thing and wind it up and all that kind of stuff. I was just listening to it because Lorraine, my aunt, is on that project, and
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
going to music, touch
Wow.
somebody's life, and I'm
Wow.
going
Okay.
to music, and I found this tape, and that thing has blessed my life. So yeah, when you mention him, that is absolutely, he's iconic. He
Yeah,
If
really,
I'm correct, wasn't Peace Be Still recorded at his church?
I believe so. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
James
yes,
Yes.
Cleveland's
Lee
Peace Be
James
yes,
Still.
Cleveland. Yes.
yes, right.
So
With
You're
the
yeah,
church
absolutely right.
choir.
yeah. This will definitely be a part two, and we'll get together before that to frame it and highlight those key people. Dale, really want to shout you out for the tribute that you did last year.
Absolutely.
Had the opportunity to attend, and we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves being able to capture the music that influenced a lot of us growing up and our
Right.
areas. And I believe part of some of the things that have happened is because one, some people forgot. Two, some people never knew. Just
Mm,
like yourself, you came into church once you were of a certain age. Some people's parents left the church, they haven't been connected, or just times change and they were misdirected based on radio play. So
Right.
certain things weren't being, if they weren't on the radio, many churches had stopped singing
Mm-hmm.
because they started singing what was on the radio. The radio
right.
is going to play what pays the bills,
Hmm.
and
Right.
that heavily influenced what we did in our church ministries. But you were able to bring some people together back in November, man, and it was just a blessing to see everyone there that came and that supported. And yo, dude, I want to say appreciate you.
That's
Thank you
right.
for doing that. We're gonna definitely do a part two because I definitely got some more stuff and content that I would have covered. Some history. We definitely got to go through that because you guys are because somebody was.
Absolutely.
And again,
Right.
so much history in New Jersey. And I know sometimes people praise other people outside of Jersey. We have great singers, we got great
Absolutely.
musicians, we got great churches
Absolutely.
and ministries. And that hashtag Jersey Strong, that is not just a hashtag. That is our lives.
That's
You
truth.
know,
That's truth.
we
Right.
That's right.
our musicians, I mean, that we use to create the music that blesses so many people. We Jersey.
And even when
Absolutely.
you think about songs, um, have to think about one of the biggest crossover songs ever. I want to know what love is.
There it
Like
is.
Yeah.
Donnie Harper, and the New Jersey Mass Choir. That was that Journey or Sovereign? Was that Journey they sung that with? Who was that?
I don't
I think
recall.
it's Journey.
Yeah, I think it's Journey. And it was crazy because today I was in the
Mm,
car and it came on. Like I haven't heard it in a long
Wow.
time, but just to know that's Donnie Harper and Donald
Actually,
Malloy.
it was Foreigner.
Foreigner, I know it was somebody. Yeah,
okay.
uh,
Okay.
Donnie and Donnie Harper and Donald Malloy walking down the street in the video singing. That was big.
Wow.
Major.
That's big. Donnie Harper has songs in the hymn book. That's big.
Yeah.
Listen, they think big, man.
Revive us again. Revive us.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if your song make it
So y'all
to
are
the hymn
teaching me.
book, if your song make it to the hymn book, you can hold your head up high. I don't care if you
Yes.
never get a Grammy. If
Yes.
your song makes the hymn book,
You in there?
you're good money.
You in.
Here's another one. If I'm correct, I, people don't know one of the biggest labels in the history of gospel music, Savoy Records, was headquartered in Newark.
Right.
Come on,
Yep.
somebody. Come on,
Right.
somebody.
Georgia
Yep.
Mass,
Yeah.
Mississippi Mass, all these masses,
All the masses.
all the masses, headquartered right in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
The
Right.
right Reverend Milton Bigham
That's it.
Bigger.
Yep.
responsible. Milton Bigham
A lot of
is
history here.
responsible for Kurt.
Come on, somebody.
Guys,
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Dallas Fort Worth.
Right.
Yeah, Dallas Fort Worth.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. See, this is huge, and this is stuff that we need to know. Like, because Dallas Fort Worth was one of the illest choirs in the 90s. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I play that record right now.
Right now.
That's right, James Perry, 56 Ferry Street.
There it is.
Okay.
Big ups to James Perry.
He's talking on the live
Big
right
ups
now.
to him.
That's
James,
real.
there would not be a Savoy Records if James Perry didn't do piano, horns, and strings on every record.
That's it.
On everything.
That's it.
James, you got to come, man. You got to be a part of that night, bro. We got to get you up here. We got to, share this information because it's important to the gospel community.
Yep.
It's important to the gospel community. If we're going to thrive, survive, whichever category you want to put us in, if it's going to keep going, we got to know our history.
Yes.
Knowing the history will allow us to continue to grow and continue to develop. We'll see everything that people had to go through, racial discrimination during those times, trying to spread the message of Jesus Christ. There was a lot of danger then, and we see danger now. So if we know what happened back then and how they navigated, I promise it will help us today. So guys, once again, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I'm going to pray, and then we're going to schedule something, and we're going to come back, and we're going to do a part 2. So, Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for life, health, and strength. I thank you for each and every person that participated tonight. Father, I pray that you will continue to download creativity in them, God. Let them continue to write music. Let them continue to direct music. Let them continue to influence this generation and point them to God. Father, I ask that you will touch their families. Father, everything that they put their hands to do, God, let it prosper. And I thank you again for their unique anointing that is on each and every one of their lives. Continue to bless them, continue to cover them, continue to keep them in good health. And we thank you for this and all things. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Guys,
Amen.
I love you. I appreciate you. I had a great time tonight. Everybody for joining in. I appreciate you. Please share this live, and we're going to definitely schedule another one soon.
Yes.
All right, bro.
All right.
Awesome.
Peace.
Thank y'all.
Thank you for having me.
I love y'all.
Love you all.
Love y'all, man.